Well, welcome back to another video, and we have a new problem. So I went out for a test ride after I got my plates and all the paperwork done, and my starter won't work. So I checked all the fuses, I checked the relay, this relay over here, and the battery, all fine. And I don't know if you guys can, and you probably can pick up and hear that. All that means that is that the starter is stuck, and I'm guessing that the coals are no good anymore. So that means removing all the fit airings and the chain guard, the clutch cylinder, just to remove 2 bolts. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. So now we have the fairings removed. Now we just need to remove these 2, which it goes to the clutch cylinder. Then you have to remove all of these bolts here. And then we can get back here to the starter. Now I went ahead and, just in case you guys get stuck outside anywhere, take a hammer and just bump it against like that and it will start again. If not, you can always push start your bike or bump start it. But I'm gonna go ahead and start removing all of these things. Now, there are some important parts after removing the cylinder. Do not touch the clutch lever, do not pull that in, else you're gonna have to re-bleed the whole system. Then you have this little guy. This is a very important piece, do not lose it. You cannot buy these anymore. Maybe you can make yourself one if you have a lathe, but they're very, very rare and very hard to find. So this piece, very important, do not lose that part. Now we just have to remove these bolts here. And then we have the chain cover off. So what I've done was I put all the bolts back where I took them out. I also put in the master clutch cylinder, and I put the screws in just so that the cylinder doesn't pop out all the way, where I accidentally hit that. And then we have 2 bolts, one here and one over there. Now, these are pretty hard to see. Okay, remove the 2 10mm bolts, and there we go, it's loose. Tricky part's gonna be getting it out because of the frame. Let's see how we can get that done. Okay, after trying to rotate it, tilt it, and I don't know what, I can't get to the wire that's attached to the starter at all. In order to remove that wire and pull the starter out, and the fact that there's really like almost no room to move the starter with, I've decided to say remove this screw, remove that screw, remove these 2 screws, remove the one that's hidden underneath of this, and tilt the tank upwards so that I can get down there and there. But don't forget to remove this piece. That will break off. It is plastic and they're not easy to find. They're really, really hard to find. Or I don't know, if you have a 3D printer, maybe you could make your own. But that's the plan as of now. Okay, slightly loosen this bolt right here. Remove these 2 bolts, put a piece of wood here, and now get to the interesting part. This is exactly where my finger is, and this probably won't be able to be picked up on camera. Right here is a screw that I have to remove. That goes to the wire that attaches to this relay, and that's what I'm gonna try and undo right now. You guys won't be able to see that. And then I'm gonna try getting the starter out either through up here, where you can see I have the fuel pump and all the other things, so this won't be easy. Okay guys, after everything, I have now finally removed the starter. Just in case any of you guys need the serial number, here's the serial number of the part. There we go, wait a minute. Focus, there we go, it focused. Yeah, I took it out from up here, and it was actually quite easy once I've removed the negative terminal wire from the relay. And yeah, this feels pretty good. Next step will be removing these bolts and seeing how we remove the back end, the back cap, the rear cap there, because that is where the brushes are. So remove this bolt here, and yeah, these two over here. Okay guys, here we go, the actual part of the video. 8mm socket for this bolt and this one, and then we'll loosen this up, pull it all out. So I am guessing these are pretty long. I'm hoping they're pretty long, go all the way down in here so that I may remove the back cap, and I hope these are not pressed in. So lots of hoping. See what happens. So lots of hoping, always good. Nice and long. It has an O-ring on the bottom which goes up in here. So make sure you don't lose that. Let's get the other one out. There we go, 1 and 2. And now take this apart. It's a bit dirty, maybe needs to be cleaned. Here's the inside, here's the bearing. That still feels good. Here we go. There we go, that apart. Push this bolt in. And, oh yeah, you guys can see the coals right here. They're gone. They don't look good at all. So those definitely have to be replaced. Thrust bearing back here is also fine. It's all a little dirty, but push all of this out. Oh, these are strong magnets. So you guys can tell, and here are some magnets. So don't forget how you put everything back together. And this is how I took it apart. The label goes up front, where the main shaft is, that goes in the motor. And yeah, let's see about fixing these, because these look terrible. They're no good anymore. Take this apart. We're gonna have to clean these up. They're very, very dirty. The cleaner they are, the better they are. And they should all have this copper color. So now you can also buy this whole module. I think it costs about 25 bucks. So let's see. Ah yes, multimeter. Put it on 200 ohm. I'm gonna sit on the side like that because I can't show you, but what I'm gonna do is check the conductivity between all of these right here. set this on the side. You guys can probably see that just there, and the number should jump. So you should have, there we go. Now you have to check every single one of these in order to see if they all have conductivity. And but I think that on this starter motor, all of them are going to be, and they're all going to be okay. I'm gonna check the rest of them off camera. And the one thing you shouldn't have, you should not have any conductivity between here and here. If you do, that means you're having a short and something's wrong. That really should not be the case, so you should be able to put the black multimeter wire into this end, the positive one to here, and there should be no conductivity whatsoever unless you're touching the axle. Alright, so we've tested everything. There's the proper connectivity in all of these. Some people go ahead and clean these with sanding paper. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to use a rag, an old sock, whatever, and clean it up as much as possible. Then take a fairly unsharp screwdriver and then try to clean out as much as of the dust as possible here from all of them. And I'm gonna start putting everything back together. I'm gonna clean up the inside of this. You can see all the coal residue from the brushes. And then the new coals are going to get replaced. They've just arrived, so that means cutting off the old ones, soldering on the new ones. And yeah, let's get started. You guys should definitely not clean this with anything of any form of type of liquid. It will destroy the entire motor or eat the insulation here, and you will not be able to use that motor anymore. You will actually have to buy a new starter, which we want to avoid, because the new starter is actually right there expensive, and if you can even still find one for this type of model and year, then you're pretty lucky, because I don't feel like buying a used one where I don't know the mileage on it, and may actually still have to replace the brushes. So that looks pretty good. Let's see if the camera will pick this up. Camera won't focus, but you can see that I've cleaned them out pretty good right now. I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe them off some more. And usually that is more than enough here to get off all the grime. Put the coals being on there. Now you will get a black hand. I mean, you can't really avoid that. Looks pretty good to me. I mean, if you take a sanding paper this, you end up removing material. I guess, which is fine if it's just a tiny bit, but I want to try to avoid all of that, and that just needs to be clean enough that has good contact. There are other videos out there on how to do this, so I'm not the only one. Maybe you'll find a better video, but do appreciate you guys watching me rebuild this motor, and I do hope that this does help you guys a little bit too. Test the bearings here, but these are pretty good, so I'm not worried about that. I'll probably clean this last because this definitely has all the coal dust in it, in the brushes. So go ahead and clean this out too. I'm gonna leave the grease in there. That's in there. You don't need to grease these things really. A little bit will go a long way here, because it's only made to go and turn the motor on. So you really don't need that much in there. That should be fine. Put that there. And this is the back cap, where the thrust bearing will be sitting in. And thrust bearings on the back side. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean that out too. Pretty much dedusted. Okay. Go for this. Do not pass this too close to a camera or a computer, because these magnets will destroy that. So be careful of that. Wipe the surface clean. So that's a lot cleaner than it was before, as you guys can tell. Now these right here, these markings are important, and I'll explain that at the end when I've placed the coal brushes. So as you guys can imagine, if I'm going to solder something that is this dirty, I'm definitely going to do something that I don't recommend anyone else doing, but I'm going to go ahead and clean as much of this with acetone. Now, most important thing is do not get it on this. Acetone will literally eat for anything, so if there's anything like these parts down here which look plastic-y, stay away from there. Once again, at this point I am definitely going to recommend, do not do as I do. Do it properly, buy something else. Things you will need. So you will need either a soldering gun, soldering iron, whatever you want to call it. You're going to need one, because there's no way you're going to solder anything without something like this. You're going to need solder. This is relatively thick. This is all I have left. Usually something at this size right here will suffice. But like I said, this is all I have right now, so that's what I'm going to use. And the other thing you may need right now is a pair of wire cutters, so we can trim those off. Okay, let's do this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut just above the insulation right here, so that I have something to solder to. I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. This is the old coal, we don't need this one. And I still have this little piece right here. I'm hoping that I can solder right on top of it. So I'll go ahead and set that up. Before I'm gonna grab the soldering iron and attempt this, I'm going to remove the O-ring and this piece right here, which is also plastic. And I'm gonna go ahead and place this tool right here. Or if you guys have a vise or whatever, you can place it in there too. But this is that's how I'm gonna do it. So, where's my solder? Sorry, gun is plugged in. Let's do this. There we go. Oh, now we can actually, okay. That worked much better than I thought. So what I did here is I did actually manage to get it on top of the other carpet part, so that's good. I'll go ahead and see how tight it is on. That's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off this excessive piece of wiring right here. What we don't need, we don't need. So we can get rid of that. Sometimes you never know. So let's go ahead. Now there is no left, there is no right on these things, so we can go ahead and solder this one on. And we can leave the insulation on this one. I mean, the other one we're going to have to do a little differently. We'll get into that in just a second. Maybe I'll tin the wire right here too. Might be a good idea too. That got hot real fast. So I went ahead and I tinned the back side of it. And I'm gonna go ahead and hot, really hot. Go ahead and hold this on here like that so that I can go. It's trying to liquefy. This. And there we go. I'm gonna clean it up, make it look a little prettier. Yeah. It's not the prettiest soldering joint, but like I said, this is kind of all I got right here. And this is not the best soldering iron. It's what I have laying around, so that's what I ended up using. I'm gonna go ahead and now do this one also. And this is going to be the one where we're going to have to remove the what's it called, the insulation. Okay, you guys want to do is you want to untwist this wire just a teeny tiny bit and bend it to the side like that, which then shows you this area right there. We're going to apply solder, so trying to trim that off. Okay, so I took off the insulation and I tinted this wire. I also applied some solder here to the other part, and I'm going to go ahead and hopefully solder these two together. No, that's pretty good. The reason I took off the insulation is because there's no way that I would get this insulation to bend like this in order to fit in here. Okay, so that's how that part looks. This is how this part looks. And in comparison, I mean, this is, if this is still the original one from 1995, then wow. You can tell that it's quite a bit shorter than the other one. And that makes a big difference, so that's why these have to go, these are back in. So next part is dropping all the parts on the floor, is installing everything back in. Now you notice that there's a slot here, and this is where these wires have to go. Same thing for this one. Time to put everything back together. Now in order for this to sit back in there properly, I am going to go ahead and put this backside back on there so that I have somewhere where I can place the thrust bearing in, this end naturally. I have one more look, and that looks pretty good because we have the magnets in here, so this is going to be a little bit difficult to get in properly. There we go. And now we have that in here. We can continue. I'm gonna go ahead and place the end cap so that the bolts can go through, and you do have a marking here, so you approximately know where you can place the holes for the screws that have to go through. So now that we have this on here, we can talk about these markings, which basically line up with this thing. Now that we have everything aligned, we just need to push everything in place. And that's approximately, or this is actually how it's supposed to sit. As you can tell, the brush coils are on and they're making contact. So if I go ahead and turn this, that works. That's good. We've cleaned everything. So now all that is left to do is put everything back together. Now you can tell, if you look through up top, that the holes down here on this side are lined up, and we have a fly in here that seems to be stuck somewhere, and these are able to go right through if you've aligned everything properly, which is actually at the moment rather tiny bit difficult to do. Magnets want to do other things than what I'd like them to do. There we go. So we have one through. Let's put the other one through too. There we go. Now we have those in the proper position. We can go ahead and put the rest together. All we need to do now is place this on here and fiddle this guy through up here. And then we'll have the starter all fixed. And we can get started on putting everything back into the bike, which is basically the same thing as taking it out, just in reverse order. I'm not going to go ahead and film that, but if anything else pops up that is of importance, I may film that. If not, I'll see you guys in a second through the magic of videotaping things. This will probably feel like 5 seconds. I'll put everything back together and I'll start up the bike for you. Okay, got it. Just connected the battery. There goes. Run, and this should be it. So there you guys go. It's running. And yeah, this will be the end of this video. So like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys on the next one, which will probably be a first ride for the 1995 ZX 9R Kawasaki Ninja.